is my Twitter handle, and at KBC Channel 1. We'll be linking up with them later on, and of course giving an update of what is exactly happening where you are. This is Bizcheck. As I said, we are live from Broadcasting House. Our conversation this morning revolves around cryptocurrency. What are they? How can they be regulated? How can you become a trader? And so much. The person who is helping us through this conversation is Curtis Marvin. He's the head of retail business at Top Earners Market Limited. And of course, later on, we'll also be talking to Ian Mvula, the CEO of TE Markets. He'll be joining us virtually from South Africa. That is in Johannesburg, South Africa. So this is a conversation that definitely you want to get yourself involved in. And let's get straight into the topic. Curtis, thank you very much indeed for finding time to be with us here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Very good. You're one of the players in this market of crypto trading. First of all, help people understand what qualifies to be called a cryptocurrency.
Okay, I will just describe that in layman's language of or what is cryptocurrency. Assuming you and I are supposed to go to Europe for a vacation, my own payments, it goes through. Then later on you come and ask me what happened. It's because I answer you, it's because I used a coin called XTEM, a type of cryptocurrency, to make payments. You will ask me, what is that? So cryptocurrency simply is a digital currency that uses the blockchain technology as a medium of exchange.
There you are, throwing everybody else now into a spin. Blockchain technology, big words. Help people understand what is blockchain technology.
All right. Blockchain technology is a series of blocks joined together that records information like who is sending the money, who are you sending the money to, how much are you sending, recording it into a ledger that is displayed outside there for other crypto players. So what am I trying to say? This type of blockchain is decentralized, meaning there is no third-party interference, like the banks, the central banks with different governments. Sorry, I heard you say that most of the regulators are still grappling with that. And so it's because of the nature of there is no third-party interference. That is what makes it decentralized. Yeah.
Who can trade in digital currencies?
Any enthusiast can trade. You can trade, I can trade. Yes.
What do I need?
You simply need to spot, you open an online account with some of the market players outside there. Of course, you need to do your due diligence before you do that, because there's a lot of people talking about cryptocurrency becoming a scam of late.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're talking about somebody doing a due diligence. How do you do a due diligence in a market where regulations are still scarce and are scattered?
Okay, that's a very nice question for you to ask. Number one, this is a myth, or rather a misconception that has been coming around that cryptocurrency is a scam. So to answer that, I need to address that. Any person who is tech savvy is supposed to actually really do due diligence and know. Most of the companies that are coming up with cryptocurrencies, rather during their initial coin offering, they do not give us the user cases why they need people to buy this type of coins. And that is why it's very evident for you before you get into cryptocurrency, you need to do your due diligence. Yeah.
So how do you then conduct a due diligence on who is offering, real transactions? Because in a world where scammers are growing by the minute, and these are not just your average scammers, these are sophisticated people, with tremendous amount of knowledge on how to wiggle out detections by regulators and security apparatus. So how do you afford to do proper due diligence until you get to a point where you say, I have exhausted any research that I can, and I have confirmed that TE is a genuine trader?
Okay. For example, right now, Africa there's the first coin that was launched in Africa called the Extemp coin. And this Extemp coin, its user case is this. During the private sale, people are getting this coin because it's going to be used as the medium of exchange in the stable internet.
What else do you need?
The knowledge. You need to invest in the knowledge before you come on board.
Let's talk about the knowledge investment part. How do you invest in knowledge, and how do you define knowledge, good knowledge?
I mentioned earlier, good knowledge is, first of all, you need to do proper background check on the company that you're going to invest with. Good knowledge is, do you understand how it works? Another good knowledge is, in an event that someone tries to scam you, are you able to spot it from a distance? Are you able to smell it from a distance? So that is some of the good knowledge that I'm talking about that you need to have before investing.
So that requires you to have a little bit of financial market intelligence background.
Yes.
But you know for sure that is not something that you're going to get in a day, in 2, or in a month. That is something that takes, a rigorous training.
It takes some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then how do you become...
So people should be patient with that. As a learner, you need to be patient so that you can learn before you invest. Yeah.
And I think the message that is that people need to be equipped with is, yes, this market is highly lucrative.
Yeah.
It has some very good returns if you invest wisely. But for you to invest wisely, you need to understand the do's and don'ts of crypto trading. And one of them is to understand, how do you spot scammers from a distance? In your case, how did you get to a point whereby now you can say comfortably, I'm a good trader, I'm making money?
Of course, in the financial markets, if I need to, spotting a scammer is very easy. They push too much. If someone pushes you too much, then that is a scammer. Or some people can push you too much, yet they're not scammers. So one thing I need to tell people outside there, in as much as someone is coming up with an ICO, can you please check the background of whoever you're getting into business with? Very good.
Yeah. Let's now cruise over to South Africa and talk to Ian Mvula, the CEO of Top Earners Markets Limited. Let's try to get a feel of how the South African market is doing, and what lessons we can learn from Kenya. We're trying to work around that, and once we have Ian on the line, we'll definitely go there. But Ian, can you hear me? Ian Mvula, are you there? All right. We're trying to get to Ian Mvula. He's CEO of Top Earners Marketing based in Johannesburg, South Africa. So that we'll be looking at the South African digital currency markets. What lessons can Kenya learn? And are there areas of synergies between these two countries in a bid to move the market forward? But we are talking to Ian. Ian is also a survey trader, digital currency trader. He's been doing this for the last 3 years. He says he has made his money. He continues to make his money. And so he's encouraging young people, understand this market first before you invest. Do your due diligence. Understand the traders. Understand the coins that are being offered there before you invest. Because, as we say in financial markets, the higher the returns, the higher the risks. Is that right?
True.
Even for digital currencies?
True.
How did you avoid these traps?
First of all, when you're starting to invest, I will not encourage someone to go big, because every day is a learning process. So even in as much as I went through the learning process and now I'm into this, I started small. So we'll just request people to start small. Like, for example, the current coin that we are offering right now, you can buy a coin as cheap as $100. Yeah.
$100?
Yeah.
$100 in Kenyan money, that's about almost 11,000 shillings.
Yeah.
There was a time we saw Bitcoin going all the way to these heights, about 36,000 US dollars, per coin. And people started wondering, look, is this even real? We definitely know there are people who made their money out of these. then the market crashed overnight and people made huge losses. So even you, I know you're not immune to this kind of swings in the market. But how do you tell that this is the right time to invest and this is the right time to exit the market?
Okay. There's something that investors don't understand. If the market crash, you as an investor, you can still make money. When the market is booming, you as an investor, you can make money. Yes, Bitcoin crashed up to around $20-something thousand per coin, right? And currently it has gone back. Do you know the current price today? $44,000.
$44,000.
Yeah. So people don't understand that even if the market crash, then you are still able to make money, and that is the beauty about trading such kind of assets. Yeah.
So this is somebody who bought one cryptocurrency at a cost of how much?
When it was starting, or when?
Yeah, when it was starting.
I think it started at $0.1. One coin was going for like, for example, right now, the XTM coin that has been launched in Africa, one coin is going for $1.29. $1.29.
$1.29.
Currently, yeah.
That would classify, that would be about 120 Kenya shillings?
120 Kenyan shillings. Mark you, if you buy this coin right now and hold it in future, do you know how much you might have in future? You can never tell. You can never tell.
It's not possible always to project these markets, because a lot of it, is based on sentiments and projections.
Yeah.
And projections, sometimes you get it right, you get it wrong.
Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you
get it wrong. So it's always some sort of a 50% right, 50% wrong. Things can go either way. So we've seen a situation whereby people have also, there was a craze around investing in forex markets, okay? And people burnt their fingers big time, because these are sophisticated products that requires, significant amount of trading and knowledge. Here we are now. The world is talking about digital currencies. The die is cast. They are the future of trading. So in a country like Kenya, which by global standards, we still a very small player in this industry, do you see the odds being stacked against us?
Not really.
Why?
This is a space whereby every day there's growth, and the more market players come into the market, the more the knowledge gets into the heads of people in Kenya, for example. So the awareness, we are still at, I would say that Kenya has gotten there, but we're still at the awareness stage. And it's this awareness that will bring people on board to take part in crypto assets. Yeah.
You see, Kenyans, we like to ride on anything that will bring us money, that something that will give us returns. We are entrepreneurial, in nature. I'll be coming back to you to help us understand, how do we train our people to become better traders going forward?
All right.
We're talking to Curtis Marvin. He's the head of retail at Top Earners Markets. And the discussion that we're having this morning is around the digital currency. I know a lot of people would want to become digital traders, but what other skills do you need to arm yourself with in a bid to become a successful trader? That is the conversation we are having here. This is Bizcheck, live from Broadcasting House. A short break is well deserved, and thereafter we'll be back with more conversation. Stay right here.
try kutafuta job na hakuna.
Unafikiria mimi nasikiaje? Mimi nimeumia shingo, siwezi hata kufight. Hata unaweza na kubox.
Listen, hakuna mwanamke asha participate kwa underground fights.
Mimi ndiye nitakuwa first. Meleta rent.
Unafikiria naweza chukua hizi chapa?
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
You cannot do a thing to get Max out of jail if the real murderer hasn't been identified yet. Or you already know the person who murdered Horacio.
No, but a guilty party could turn up.
You must be feeling so powerful right now.
Of course.
Even I'd like to be the first one to tell everyone you're still alive. But we both have to just stick to our plan. We can't have Cesar and Lucrecia know that until the right time has come to do so.
What happened?
She did sign the divorce papers.
Fine, great. What about the land? You'll need to counter Juliana's land, Paraíso.
The trial for the homicide case against Maximiliano Montesinos is now being processed. The first hearing will be held next week, and the court will decide whether the coffee businessman in question is guilty or is innocent for the murder of his employee, Mr. Horacio Espinosa, the ex-husband of his sister-in-law, Amaya Serrano. In the meantime, he is still being detained at the maximum security state prison.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Hayawi huwa mbiu ya mgambo imelia, na kwa kawaida ikilia kuna jambo.
Mgambo uliopo hapa ni rumba kavacha, odemba na sukus.
Tutakupromoshea midundo motomoto ya Afrika, iwe kutoka kaskazini, kusini, magharibi na hata mashariki.
Rumba is here in your living room.
Na popote ulipo.
This is Bridge of Congo.
Nzambe ya sambe la kati, ako sambe la nani.
Right here on KBC Channel 1. Where?
My name is Fayaz Qureshi. After a long spell, I'm back and ready to grace your screens. This Saturday, I will take you through the weekend's newsmakers and conversation with a Kenyan legend on their work and life. Tune in to the Legends Edition this and every Saturday at 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Very good, welcome back. This is a beautiful morning here in Nairobi. Of course, the sun is out, so somehow things are looking up after such a very cold and unusual winter here in Kenya for the last 3 months. And of course, the conversation here is also brightening up your morning. We are talking about cryptocurrency and how to equip you with the skills that you need to become a savvy trader in this sophisticated market. And helping us with this conversation is Ian Mvula. He's the CEO, he's the CEO of Top Earners Market Limited. He's based in Johannesburg. We are trying to connect and link up with him so that he can give us some insight on how the South African government is going around regulations around this market. And of course, Curtis Marvin, he's a Kenyan. He's here in Kenya, definitely. He's actually here in studio. We've been having a conversation with him. He's the head of retail at Top Earners Market. And before we went for the break, I wanted to find out, Kenyans, we love to be entrepreneurs. Talk about the quail business, we'll get into it. The craze now in the agriculture sector is the hash avocado farming. There was a time when everybody jumped into poultry farming, dairy farming. So history has proved that we all want to get into some form of business to make an extra coin. This is a new market. It's quite sophisticated. I mean, the digital currency market has been with us for less than 10 years. And so a lot of people are still yet to understand the do's and the don'ts of digital currency trading. From where you sit or from where you stand, what would you say are the do's and don'ts for anybody who is trying to get into this business?
Okay, thank you so much, Brian, again for this chance. I will start with the don'ts. Don't get into this kind of market unless you understand.
And the key word here, unless you understand. So if you do not understand, please don't.
Don't. Or rather, if you don't understand, get the education.
Get the information.
Get the information.
And ensure you get the information right.
Right.
And the proper information.
Proper information. The do's, as you've said.
You only have one don't.
That is the only don't I want to tell people as of now. Yeah.
You could be having more?
I could be having more.
Like?
For example, do not be lured into the scammers. Another don't is ensure you as a player have the right amount of investment.
The right amount of investment.
Yeah.
What is that?
Starting capital. When you're investing in this, let people not lure you into starting with the small amount of capital. I'm not discouraging Kenyans out there who cannot afford.
And when you're talking about small capital, you're talking about amount of how much?
Less than $100.
Well, talk about Kenyan shillings. So that's about 10,000 shillings.
That's about 10,000 Kenyan shillings. 10,000 Kenyan shillings with proper risk management. You can take part in this venture.
The key word here is proper risk management.
Yes.
So how do you employ that?
You employ that, never risk more than 1% of your initial capital.
More than 1%?
Yeah.
And more than 1% out of 10,000 shillings, that would be 100 bob?
Yeah. When you bring in the concept of margin and leverage and everything. So that's like 100 bob.
That's 100 bob.
Yeah.
So do not risk more than 100 bob of the 10,000 shillings that you plan to invest.
And remember, all these parameters come in with the kind of money you have. If I have 1 million shillings, I should not risk more than $1,000. That is 100,000 Kenyan shillings when taking part in the financial markets.
Those are the three don'ts.
Those are the three don'ts.
Let's go to the do's.
The only do that I want to talk about is, are you looking for an extra source of income? Then do it.
And everybody's looking for an extra coin.
Yeah. Do it. Take part in the investment.
So, there must be somebody out there who is watching this program and wondering, I mean, so how do I get to the right platform? How do I equip myself with the best skills? How do I connect myself with the right people, okay, so that I do not burn my fingers? What advice would you have for this kind of a person?
The advice I would give them is one. Look for the right people. There's the internet there. You can learn from there. In the internet right now, you go and search for legit, let's say, legit platforms to trade on cryptocurrencies. You will find them listed. And for Africans like us, in fact, we've come up with our own coin currently, which is the XTM coin that is going to be used to drive the African Consolidated Exchange. I mean, go through the white paper, read everything, and then you'll know whether it's legit or not.
And you see, let's be honest here. I mean, this kind of information that we are talking about here, that you need to equip yourself with, the kind of documents that you need to read, even as you go to the internet, because internet is a market for everything,
Yeah.
You can get anything and everything.
Anything and everything.
Anything legit, anything fake. Everything is out there. So this is not, you're not talking about your average thinker. You're talking about somebody who is sophisticated enough to understand what are white paper concepts, what are regulations, what are rules, what are laws governing these things. And so from where you sit or from where you stand, who qualifies to call himself or herself a digital trader? What level of education, what level of knowledge do you need before now you can qualify, before you can now, pop up the champagne bottle and say, hey, finally?
You need the top-notch knowledge. Top-notch knowledge is one. You need to at least take 6 months plus trying to learn what is here.
6 months?
6 months plus.
Plus?
Yeah.
And plus could be 1 year, 2 years?
2 years, yeah, depending on your level of understanding.
And level of interest as well.
And level of interest.
So, after that, now you're good to go.
After that, you're good to go.
So, how I have armed myself with this knowledge. I know which currency to invest in. I know which
company
to invest. Which trader do I invest in. Then, and I have secured my 15,000 shillings that I would want to invest.
Correct.
Where do I go from there?
Now you open an account. And opening an account, of course, these companies also have rules that guide people on how to open an account. We are not going to use, the reason why you need to open an account and a KYC needs to be done to you is because we need to know who is also investing. So I'm bringing in a new concept. We also need to know who is investing.
Who is investing?
Yeah.
Very good. You've brought in the issue of KYC. And KYC is Know Your Customer. It's a concept that is used widely in the banking industry, whereby banks will do a background check on who you are, what kind of a customer you are you likely to default on your loans, before they embrace you and become your customer. Now, here you're about to do a KYC for a company that is not, first of all, regulated by any law. So how do you do that?
Okay, you get in there, and remember when I started about the user case. This coin that the company needs you to come and invest on, how is it going to help the society in terms of business? How is it going to help you as an individual? And all this kind of information you get them through the documentation. And these documentations can be verified. Do not get me wrong. Most of the financial companies that are bringing out this kind of digital currencies are somehow regulated somewhere. Somehow regulated. We might not have all the concept of regulation under the digital currency, but different governments have regulated businesses to take place in the ecosystem. You understand? You need to know whether this business actually exists. Is it legit?
How do you do that?
Doing your background check on the documentation that I've talked about, and even consulting regulators.
Yeah, then, I mean, how do you consult regulators about a business that is not regulated?
Now, for example, tea markets where I work, they came up with a coin, right? And I want you as a person to invest on that coin. We are regulated under the Seychelles. Yeah.
Seychelles?
Yeah, St. Vincent, and also in South Africa. So what you need to do is, we are bringing in a product that has not been regulated, but generally we are regulated.
So you're regulated, you're operating in a market in Kenya where there are no regulations, but you're registered in countries where there are regulations. But even when you're talking about regulations in Seychelles, in St. Vincent, and in South Africa, even these countries, they don't have what you would call proper regulations around cryptocurrencies. They have they have a little bit of patchwork on regulations. So they do not have well-crafted and well-defined regulations around cryptocurrencies. So in a situation like this, how do I get to know?
What will give you the investor confidence is at least the person providing that service is under other financial systems and has been regulated.
Like top earners, are you in any other trading platform?
Yes. We do forex trading.
Forex trading, online?
Yeah, online trading. Yes.
So you are also in that space?
We are also in that space. Yes.
Let's talk about this currency that you're talking about that is being launched in Africa. You talked about the crypto we traded $1.25? $29.
Currently it's going there. The private sale is currently going for $1.29.
$1.29. So how this currency is tradable in how many countries?
We are connecting Africa to the entire world. So it's Africa based currently. And even we have investors who have bought the coin from US, Europe, name them. Yeah.
Where is the coin domiciled?
It's in Africa, but it's going to be listed under the Binance Smart Chain.
Binance?
Yeah.
And so when you talk about Africa, Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent made up of more than 50 countries with diverse cultural backgrounds, diverse regulations, different governance styles. So where are you domiciled? In which country?
South Africa.
So you're domiciled in South Africa? That is Johannesburg?
Yeah. Yeah.
And have you started trading in South Africa yet?
Yeah, currently, as I've mentioned, the coin is still undergoing an ICO, so the private sale is still ongoing. That is why I was talking about the user case. The user case of this coin is after we get the liquidity from it, we'll be able to use this under the SX, which is one of the products of TE Markets Limited.
So SX is your new platform?
SX is coming soon, a platform that is going to bring in together all the African commodities, African exotics, African derivatives into one platform. Yeah.
So here we are. Right now, the currency is not. I mean, the currency is not yet available in the market because
it is still, the private sale is ongoing.
Oh, the private sale. This is the private sale.
Private sale, yeah.
It is not open to public yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
When do you plan to open this to public?
We have 12 days to go for us to go public.
For you to go public.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about private sales, what exactly do you mean?
It's more of an initial coin offering. Private sale is it divided among the team members. Whoever is interested right now to hold the coin when it's as cheap as $1.29. When you go public, of course, some people will still be able to afford it. But remember, there's a point that this coin is going to have something called a coin ban. Coin ban means we are not going to be able to sell any more units. The maximum units that are going to be sold outside there is 500 million.
500 million.
Yeah. And remember, this cuts across all cryptocurrencies. They have to have a maximum of the units or the tokens that they will sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 500 units and
500 million units.
500 million units.
Yeah.
And Africa alone, you have a population of 1.2 billion people. So even if each African was to buy one coin, you still have about 700 million Africans still left out. They are willing to buy, but they cannot buy.
Good question.
So how are you going to ensure that you are talking about an African coin, okay, that wants to go to the world? How are you first of all going to ensure that Africans themselves they embrace this concept of this crypto?
Because the idea is already here to bring all commodities or rather all traded assets into one exchange. That is how they're going to benefit using this coin. And you're asking about the difference that is remaining between the 700 million. Now, once we hit the 500 million units, now the coin will be going around, like circulating among investors. You get the gist? Yeah.
So it will get to a point whereby O'Brien can buy this currency from Ian at some point when the public offering finally hits the market. And you're talking about 12 days from now. In the run, before we get there, what are you doing in the space between now and the 12 days to ensure that you get your documentation right here in Kenya?
Okay. Thanks around that, but we were having the discussion with the CEO yesterday, a few days ago. Already there's
Which
this
CEO?
From South Africa.
Okay, Ian.
Yeah, Ian Vula. I think he's about to join us. Yeah, so we are looking around getting regulation in the capital markets. But remember, they also still don't have the laws to regulate cryptocurrency. So we are getting the existing. And then from there, and remember, it's the market players that can help the regulators also get the regulations that is needed for the market. Yeah.
You are talking about engaging the markets regulator, that is the Capital Markets Authority, to come up with some form of regulations before
around crypto.
Around crypto.
And also borrowing.
Yeah.
No, they can't regulate the crypto right now. I'm saying after we get the license, because remember, we're not only providing the coin as a service, we're also providing other products. And those other products, like the foreign exchange, the trading of other tradable assets like commodities, we have regulation around that. So once we get that license, then the regulator, together with other market players who are also looking into crypto regulation and also borrowing from other regulations, will come together and try. Remember, I told you most governments are still grappling with regulating the crypto, which is a debate that is going to continue for quite some time. Yeah.
And so you're talking about applying for a license to issue an ICO or an initial coin offering, right?
I'm talking about we are applying for a license so that we can come and give the investor confidence in Kenya, whereby, remember, it's TE Markets Limited. The XTEM coin or the cryptocurrency that we are offering is part of the products that we offer. So if they see that we're regulated on other aspects, then they would really want to come on board at least.
Are you licensed to offer forex trading services?
Yes.
By CMA?
No, not currently. That is the license that we are now acquiring.
So you are acquiring a license to start operations around
online trading.
Online trading.
Yeah.
So you still do not have that license at this point.
At this point, yeah.
And in a country whereby getting that kind of a license, can take layers of months because of the back and forths and the background checks that the regulators have to do. How confident are you that you're going to get that license before the 12 days are over?
The 12 days were for the end of the private sale on the coin. That was the coin specifically. But now you ask me a question of the company getting a license to operate in Kenya legally as providing part of the financial instruments that are tradable. Yes, that one we are getting.
Well, you have applied to get.
We've already applied to get it.
You're not sure that you'll get it?
We will get it.
Well, I mean, you can't confidently say that. That is a decision that has to be made by CMA.
The CMA, yeah.
So it's a question of applying and waiting.
Applying and waiting, yes.
And definitely you cannot start trading before you are licensed. I mean, you'll be engaging in an illegality, within the Republic of Kenya.
Within the Republic of Kenya. It's not allowed for you to trade with financial institutions that are not regulated. These semi-financial institutions could be regulated elsewhere, but it's not advisable according to the Kenyan laws. That one I understand, and I concur with that.
Well, it's not a question of it's not advisable. It is illegal.
It is illegal.
It is a crime, actually.
Yeah.
To operate without duly being licensed by the regulators. And regulators, we are talking about the Capital Markets Authority. We are talking about the Central Bank of Kenya. You have to get their license before you are allowed to offer financial services in the Kenyan market.
In the Kenyan market, yeah.
When did you apply for the license?
It's been, it was applied like 2 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I believe this is a conversation that you usually have with CMA and other players to get to understand how far you before finally you can be given the license. As per your last engagement with them, where is this process stuck?
I'm not in that panel currently, so I cannot say that currently. Yeah.
So it's proper to say that as per now, you are a prospective company that wants to get into the business of online forex trading, and once you get that license, now you can also embark on cryptocurrency trading.
Yes.
You don't think that will take a bit of time before that happens?
I can't say how much time it will take. It might take some time. It might be short duration, depending on what the CMA thinks or what they know after doing a background check on the company. So if it comes, well and good, we get into business. But anyway, if it doesn't, we work with what we have currently.
And what you have currently is what?
The licenses that I mentioned to you earlier. Yeah.
But you as things stands now, you know, TE Limited. I mean, you do not have any license from the Kenyan regulators.
No, we are seeking to have one. As things stand right now, we don't.
As things stands now,
yeah,
you're not regulated. I mean, you're not licensed.
Yeah.
To offer any business in online forex trading or in cryptocurrencies. So, what are you doing in the interim?
Creating awareness of the XTEM coin that has been launched. Yeah. We are trying to create awareness currently.
Yes.
So that in an event that we get the license, boom, we're ready to go.
You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Listen, we're discussing the issues around cryptocurrencies, you know, the future of digital currencies here in Kenya. And Curtis Marvin is the head of retail at Top Earners Market. He's been with us for the last 1 hour or so, you know, helping us understand the concept of digital currency and how best, you know, you become a qualified investor in digital currencies. Let me tell you this. I have interacted with this concept of digital currency. It's not a walk in the park. You need tremendous amount of knowledge. You need to equip yourself with the relevant information, knowledge, and of course connect with the right people, because if you're not careful, there are millions of scammers out there waiting for that coin that you have in your pocket to grab it and run. So the golden rule is do your research, and do your research. We're still trying to connect with Ian Mvula. He's the CEO of TE Markets Limited. He's based in Johannesburg, and of course we'll be trying to see how the two markets compare, you know, Kenya and South Africa. They are, one would say they are at par, even though they have different lessons that each country can learn, you know, from the experience of the other country. And that is the conversation that we seek to be having. But in studio, we continue with our conversation here with Ian, with Curtis, as we try to get in touch with Ian in South Africa. So, we do not... Look, we're talking about applying for a license, to be granted the license to operate or to get into the space of online forex trading in Kenya. And mind you, we have only 3 players that are licensed. So that tells you it's not just a walk in the park, you know. And for sure there have been many applications, but CMA have so far managed to grant license to 3 players only. You want to become the 4th one. Help us understand how difficult is it to be granted that license? What are the requirements, first of all?
It's very difficult to get the license if you don't have all the requirements. And I will just mention a few requirements that are required. You'll first of all need to have a physical location. You need to have...
Do you have that yet?
Of course, everything is in the process.
So even setting up a physical office is work in progress.
It's work in progress. Yeah. Just to give the investors confidence outside there, the reason why we are trying to acquire this type of license is to give them the confidence that we are within the country. You always know what has happened in Kenya before. So many investors come into the country and then they end up running away with investor money, right? And that is not what we are looking, and that is why people came around the regulation aspect of it. Yeah. And
keep going.
Okay, and there are so many requirements. I cannot have the list right now, but to get that license, there are so many requirements. And I believe for ourselves, or rather the company that I work for, we have all it takes to get the license.
But Curtis, I mean, for any company that is willing to open its services in a foreign country, even as you apply for a license, the first thing to do is to set up a physical office so that people would walk in and confirm there is a company that is in operation. It is waiting, licensing, but there is a physical office, there is a CEO, or there is an MD or GM or whoever. There are workers there, there are people there who can talk to me. You are yet to get to that point.
Yes, I'm yet to get to that point.
So how are you telling people that we are a company?
Yes, we are a company. Now, I just want to give you the physical location of the office where the work is currently ongoing.
Yes.
Prism Towers, 22nd floor. There is where we're going to get our office. And actually, as we speak, when I tell you work in progress, it means that
is where you are planning. Planning to
we've been working for the company, and actually in Kenya we have so many staff, by the way.
Very good. Let's now take a dash to South Africa, Johannesburg, and link with Ian Vula, the CEO of TE Markets. Ian, if you can hear me, good morning, and how is Johannesburg?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Johannesburg is good. The weather improving. I think we're creeping into summer in a few weeks from now. Maybe even just 3 weeks from now. In summer.
Well, we could say the same here in Kenya. I mean, it's been very, very cold in the last 3 or 4 months, but somehow the sunshine is creeping out, and you do not know how happy we are to see sunshine finally. But that is beside the point here. We are here with Curtis, and our conversation has been around the digital currency market here in Kenya. Bearing in mind that Kenya is one of the leading digital currency traders in Africa, where South Africa would be considered to be the leading, but the jury is still out. Who is the leader between South Africa and Nigeria? First of all, can you describe to us how is the digital currency market in South Africa?
Well, it's a growing trend.
The digital currency market in South Africa is huge. The regulators here are busy putting up a program to regulate operators in this space. So it's not out there yet, but I think there is even one big bank that is already developing an exchange that will be operating here in SA. But insofar as regulation, that is about to come. There's already sentiments of even policing how much crypto comes into the country and exchanged through the non-exchanges that are quite popular here in South Africa.
You were talking about, and this is the same scenario here that the regulators are grappling with on how to craft regulations around these fast rising or fast developing.
It's not easy to regulate crypto. Remember, once upon a time, even the insurance industry was not regulated. So then, the regulators came up with regulation at some point, and that's many, many years ago. I think we're not even born yet. But digital currencies and the crypto space has become a fact of life. In just a few years from now, I think we're going to see the key players on the African continent adopting, and I'm talking about governments here, going digital in a few years. My prediction is not more than 5 years. We're definitely going to see that.
Last month, we saw the South African Reserve Bank governor, I don't know whether I'm going to pronounce this right, but Leseta Kanyago, if that's how you pronounce the name, said that they have embarked on a feasibility study to try and come up with a concept on how this market is going to be regulated. And of course, he said that this is not going to be 1 month, 2 months. It's going to be a long-term process. So in a whereby the regulations are still scant, how is the market regulating itself?
Okay, first of all, thank you for using that word. First of all, companies like ourselves or players like ourselves are self-regulating. We adhere to strict rules of KYCs. We want to know who our clients are, source of funds. We regulate the amount of crypto deposits or withdrawals one can make, and stuff like that. So self-regulation has become a norm for those players that are preparing themselves for regulation. When the regulator opens the door. So self-regulation is the norm, is the buzzword, and I've seen many, including the big boys like Binance, they themselves are self-regulating. Up to some point, we've all been just cyber-based operations, including big players like Binance. But the point is, we're now going to the space of going into brick and mortar office space and looking out for the regulator to open doors for us to submit our credentials. And it's an ongoing process. And we've placed applications with the key markets and the key regulators. And I do hope that in the coming months,
Yes, I hear clear.
Well, I think we're having a challenge there with the connection, but I think Ian line. Ian, you are talking about self-regulations, and there are risks that comes with self-regulations because he who pays the piper calls the tunes, and in a market whereby you are left to regulate yourself, you're talking about embarking on know your customer or KYC model. But how do your customers now get to know you?
Well, it's all about
relationship building, quite frankly, because that end part is all about relationship building. And once the relationships have been built and you've presented yourselves as a self-regulated player in the market, and the clients have comfort in that, you are able to offer the services that which you provide, and as long as you can deliver what you say, you'll be able to operate okay. And so we're in that space, but regulation is to come, and I think that is the way to go. When that will happen, no one knows. But as far as what people should do now, I'd heard you guys talk about the do's and don'ts. I can say part of the don'ts is don't be left out. And what are the do's? Do acquire some crypto, because crypto has become a fact of life. Whether people like it or not, that is what the future is going to be. There's been massive adoption going on all over the world. We've seen big institutional investors jumping into the crypto space and acquiring a lot of crypto as an asset they believe will give good returns. So don't be left out. Do acquire a lot of crypto. And one of them is obviously that which we ourselves are promoting at the moment, the XTEM.
And before we even go to the currencies you're promoting, I mean, look, even in South Africa, whereby, the financial market and the banking sector, is more developed than in many African countries. It's more sophisticated. It's much bigger than most African markets. You have banks, discouraging their clients from investing in cryptos using their platforms. How do you see a situation whereby traders or providers of cryptocurrencies, are you seeing a situation whereby they are likely to partner with banks in the future in order to open up this market?
Yes, like I said, there's massive adoption going on, and banks might say, "Hey, you know what? We're not allowing this group of players to participate in crypto." But you should understand, first of all, the concept of crypto is a currency that operates in the cloud. Okay, now. The original concept of a crypto was just a peer-to-peer remittance mechanism, so to put. So now, if that is operating in the cloud, and people are able to transact amongst the peers themselves, and are able to transact, do transactions within the normal traditional space, without these two being connected, it's very difficult to say, hey, you know what, we're not going to deal with you. How else will you know unless you bring them on board, and unless you set up some kind of a mechanism where there's communication for you to know what this group of people are doing in the cloud space. So yeah, quite a difficult situation that we find ourselves in, but banks, regulators, countries that are now thinking forward, they're saying, hey, you know what, this thing has become a fact of life. We might as well bring this space into the traditional space. We might as well start regulating that. We might as well take the people that are self-regulating very serious, because they're providing us the data, the credentials for us to be able to to come up with a study on how this field it should be regulated, so to speak. So I think that is where we are at the moment.
Ian, all about innovations, they come before regulations. They precede regulation, governments and regulators, to ensure that, their citizens are not exposed. And even if they are exposed, they see those loopholes. Almost all over the world, countries and central bank regulators, are still having a challenge, crafting solutions to regulations around the digital currencies. But help us understand here, how do we then ensure that even as we plan to develop regulations, there is some form of regulations in the industry. There is responsible trading within the ecosystem.
Well, I hope I understand what your question is, or what you're trying to say. But look, responsible trading is what I myself and my team, we've been promoting for quite a while. We do not recommend people to go and borrow money from, for example, a loan shark to come and invest in risky opportunities, for example, forex trading, or even investing on the stock market, let alone investing in crypto. So being a responsible player in the market, we don't recommend that. In fact, we do occasionally make sure that in our training programs, we do educate people to understand that they just need to find a seed from perhaps savings or some kind of income, and then be able just to grow that seed trading the risky markets. Trading crypto, forex, and all this is extremely, extremely risky. And so those of us that are in the market and have been doing this for quite a while, we do educate our folks not to go out and be reckless traders and reckless investors. But even if you say that, there are people that are not going to tell you their source of capital and where they got it from. And you will find that people go out and borrow heavily to go and invest in a risky, asset. And anything can happen. And we've seen sometimes the crypto plummet 20-30% overnight, and then someone's capital is wiped out, more especially if they were margin trading. So I hope I did answer your question, because I didn't quite clearly understand what you said, but that's what it is.
Well, I think you made a proper attempt there to respond to that question. And the other issue is this. I know TE is in the process of acquiring a license to start online forex trading here in Kenya.
No. We establishing the first African consolidated exchange, and that license is for us to operate the exchange. We've acquired a company in Estonia that is already licensed in Estonia, and so we're just beefing up that licensing.
Ian, are you there?
For us, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're back. Keep going.
Yeah. So I was saying, look, we've acquired a company in Estonia that is already licensed, and we're comfortable in that space because that licensing covers our operations in Europe. In Africa, we're looking at a few key markets that that have opened doors for us to get licensing, but our license is for us to operate an exchange as opposed to just forex trading, as you put it. Well, it includes the dealing desk and all that, but that's the space that we're going into. And so it's an exciting time.
Ian, just a minute. So the license that you want to apply for is for a digital currency trader?
Well, not necessarily for a digital currency trader. Well, there's so many different permutations in the or licenses that one can obtain. But the one that we're seeking is for us to operate an exchange, and this exchange will enable us.
What kind of an exchange?
It is a digital exchange where, of course, the good old forex trading will be traded, indices, African exotic currencies, cryptocurrencies, and the like. And that is what the exchange will be able to offer.
But currently in Kenya, there is no license for digital currency trading. I mean, the only digital license that you get is for forex trading.
Yes. In Kenya, it's only for forex trading, but in Estonia, it does allow us to trade in digital currencies.
Well, but you want to operate in Kenya. I mean, how are you going to ensure that you get a license to operate in Kenya, bearing in mind that you cannot get such a license?
Well, look, we are going to apply for what is applicable at the moment. When the doors open for digital currency in Kenya, then that aspect of... Sorry?
Have you applied for licensing?
Yes, that is in the process. We will be announcing shortly when that takes off, and when the licensing is off, we will be able to announce that.
So as we stand now, you have not submitted any application for a license to Capital Markets Authority here in Kenya?
It's in the process, sir. It's in the process.
It is in the process, but you haven't submitted any document.
No, it's in the process. The answer is in the process.
It is in the process.
Yes.
So document submission to CMA is in process.
Yes, it's in the process.
In the process.
Yes.
Very well.
That's the right. That's the response. It's in the process, sir.
It is in the process. Ian, I have tremendous, knowledge on regulations around this kind of product, in the Kenyan market. In a situation whereby right now there are no regulations, and so you're not likely to get any license anytime soon for operating a digital currency product. So that is likely to be a long time before you get licensed to operate here, right?
Okay, your audio is not so clear. But if I'm hearing correctly, like I said, for every jurisdiction that we are applying and the licensing applications are in process, there are different permutations as to what we can apply for. In Kenya at the moment, yes, we can apply for Forex, indices, and so on and so forth. But in other jurisdictions, like I said, like Estonia, we can apply for digital currencies and other instruments that we're going to have in different jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm. But that is for operations in Estonia, not in Kenya, right?
No, in Kenya it's a different application as to what you can have in Estonia.
You're aware that you cannot use an Estonian.
Yes, that I'm very much aware. Like I said, the Estonian licensing is for operations in Europe. The one that we're going to have in Kenya will apply to what the regulator will permit us to do in that particular jurisdiction. And so what we're going to have in another jurisdiction is for that particular jurisdiction. So we're going to separate the bananas from the oranges and the mangoes from the apples.
Mm-hmm. And before I let you go, what is the future of digital currency here in Africa?
Well, like I said, there's massive adoption going on at the moment. I predict that in the next 3 to 5 years, we should see some governments going digital themselves. We should see a lot more large operators, the big brands, adopting digital as a means of transacting and a means of them doing commerce, whether online or offline. I think that is what is going to be the future like all across the continent. We've seen that happening in other parts of the world, and I think that is what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm. And the beauty of it is that, according to research by Trails and Bison, is that 80% of central banks in the world, they have embarked on some feasibility studies to just try to understand how they can launch their e-currency going forward. And this is likely to give a significant boost to digital currency, not only here in Africa, but around the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, Ian, I have to let you go. Thank you very much for finding time to be with us. Enjoy the sunshine of Johannesburg.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Well, that's Ian Mvula, CEO of Top Earners Market, joining us live from Johannesburg in South Africa. And of course, now we're back here in studio as we wind up this conversation around digital currency. And we've been talking to Curtis Marvin. He's the head of retail at TE Markets. What are your final remarks before I let you go?
Okay. My final remarks are that I just wanted to address the myths and the facts around cryptocurrency or the digital assets. Now, we've heard a lot of people say that it's a scam. Now, I want to address what a scam is. You, as a tech-savvy person who is getting into the digital currency space, needs to do your due diligence. Just the same way we've had that discussion before. Another thing, people say that the digital currency is not environmental friendly. We had a lot of topic around that some time back. That the mining of the coins use a lot of electricity, which is, I don't know how they relate to it, but it's not safe for the environment. Now, even other currencies, people in the offices, they use a lot of electricity. Producing those physical money, they use a lot of electricity. So we should not base our mind that cryptocurrencies are not safe because they're not safe for the environment. Another thing is the illicit activities that are going around by the use of cryptocurrency. I would need to address that and tell investors outside there, it is not the coin that is doing these illicit activities or using this type of dubious means, it is the people taking part in that. Just the same way in other currencies. I can take part in illicit activities using other currencies. So those are the three things or the three myths around cryptocurrencies that I wanted to address as we end this show. Yeah.
Very well put. The trade itself is genuine. Digital currency is happening. We've seen some of the leading conglomerates in the world, like Tesla, saying that they're in the process of embracing digital currency in their payment platforms. This is just one of the many companies that are embracing digital currency. We also talked about Facebook, DM. We've talked about China, coming up with their
Microsoft.
Microsoft is the same. China already, they have yuan. And so this is a market that is going to grow. The issue is how to regulate this market to ensure that you have genuine traders and you are not exposing your population or your people to scammers and because there are very many on the internet. Well, Curtis, I have to let you go. Thank you very much for your time. Our time is up for this conversation. Otherwise, it was great having you on this show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It
was a pleasure. Thank you.
Well. Okay. Well, it is my hope and belief that you have acquired yourself some knowledge or two about digital trading, but that is not enough. You still need to do a lot of research, a lot of reading, and a lot of connections before you can finally say, hooray, I'm there. This is Bizcheck. Our conversation is coming up next. The next conversation will revolve around developing a strategic plan for your business. Interesting enough, 2 out of 10 companies have strategic plan. The question is, how comes the uptake of strategic planning is so low among corporate Kenya? That is the conversation we're having next after the break.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email newsroom@kbc.co.ke, call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Guksa amekuchapia story yote ya benefits za dad kwa kampuni alikuwa anafanya job.
Could it be that Ken named you next of kin? Because why else would they be calling you?
Wendo kuzi mamako mwenye alikuwa next of kin wa Joyce.
Mbona?
Wewe unaitwa na mume wako?
The house is up for auction too.
Get up.
What?
Unaonyesha nini mtoto?
She has the worst hangover of her life.
I think it's our time upatie our safe space.
Be positive.
You don't even have a job.
Visa vya ugonjwa wa malaria vimepungua kwa asilimia kubwa nchini Kenya kutokana na mikakati madhubuti iliyowekwa chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254,
if we do not address malaria and take decisive actions to eliminate it, we will continue to see more deaths from this easily preventable disease.
Kwa ajili ya kutumia ile neti, wengine kama mimi naitumia vizuri na naona ile mambo ya magonjwa kwangu nyumbani sio sana.
Wakati mwingi huko nyuma nilikuwa naugua malaria kwa sana, na nilikuwa natibiwa, bado inarejelea tu.
Wiki hii
Talking about animals, look ahead of buffalo.
This week on Surura,
Hii kazi mimi leo ninafanya.
we take you on a journey from farm to shop. Rock climbing.
My toes feel like sand needles.
We'll also get your adrenaline pumping with a rigorous activity.
You can get lost here easily, yeah?
You get to find out what conservancies actually do. Expand my mind. And yes, that's all coming right up on Surura. Find your adventure.
Nimetoka kutafuta job na hakuna.
Wewe unafikiria mimi nasikiaje? Mimi nimeumia shingo, siwezi hata kufight. Hata wewe unaweza na kubox.
Listen, hakuna mwanamke asha participate kwa underground fights.
Mimi ndiye nitakuwa first. Nimeleta rent.
Unafikiria naweza chukua hizi chapa?
Dealers in violence, and we've shown you and everybody else that we make the rules. So you have a challenge for us that we accept.
And it's Callahan and LA Park for all the marbles.
Oh, he's in from LA Park, who is your new #1 contender.
Do you have a news story?
Welcome back to hour 2 of Bizcheck, whereby time now to shift gears and do a radical crossover. We've been discussing cryptocurrencies. Time now to discuss strategic planning. Did you ever know that out of 10 SMEs in Kenya, only 2 have a well-defined strategic plan? Did you ever know that? In business, we say, failing to plan is planning to fail. And so this morning, we want to discuss the business of strategic planning in business. Why is it critical to the success of your company? Why is it important to have a strategic plan going forward? That is the conversation we want to have here. And guess who is joining us this morning? This is Chris Odongo. He's the CEO of Wild International. This is a strategic planning business company, helping SMEs, helping companies, to come up with proper strategic plan. Thank you very much indeed, Odongo, for joining us. And I must appreciate would you call this a shirt with this very nice African print?
Yes, this is an African shirt with an African print, and we are very passionate about advocating for the relevance of the African person in being part of defining solutions for their own problems and also contributing to solutions in the global arena.
Very good.
Yep.
Let's hit the ground running. Why is it important to have a strategic plan for any business?
So think about it like this. You are going into business and you want to be able to know how to succeed in the market. You want to be able to know how to win in the market. Mm-hmm. And not only do you want to know that, you want your team members to also know that as well. And so any business, for it to succeed, must have a strategy, because you are going to ask yourself, there's a market opportunity, there's a customer, there is a need that I want to meet, and I want to succeed in meeting that need. So you want to have a strategy for meeting that particular need. Let's just talk about a basic business, okay? Matatu business. You have to have a strategy of what time shall I put my matatu on the road, if you're the driver of that matatu, so that I get the customers? Which bus stop shall I position myself at so that I get the most number of customers? And it's as simple as that. But at that particular point, it's an undocumented strategy. It's in the mind of the driver and in the mind of the conductor. And they know where they need to be at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, position themselves strategically so that when the customer is leaving their house, the door of the matatu is right aligned to where the customer is entering. And that's a strategy. But then when you come into SME world, you know, you're coming into a business that has employees, you're coming into a business that has managers, you're coming into a business that has customers. And at that particular point, that business is a bit more complex. And so your strategy is not as simple as parking your bus next to the estate. Your strategy is a bit more complex because you're thinking, who is my customer? Where do I get my customer? What is my customer doing with my product? What is my customer using my services for? And therefore, then how do I position myself in a way that I am serving this customer as efficiently and as effectively as possible? And then beyond that, how do I make sure that I'm serving as many customers as I can possibly serve so that I can be able to grow my business? And then the part of documenting it is moving it from the mind of the entrepreneur and putting it on paper so that other people can be able to see it, can be able to read it, and then can be able to implement it. And eventually, after 1 year, we can come back and ask ourselves, we promised ourselves this is the strategy we are going to do this year. Therefore, then, have we done it? Have we achieved the results? And do we need to change it? So if you're reviewing it from a documented perspective, it's easy. Big organizations have what they call minutes. Why do they have minutes? So that we do not mistake what we said. We know what we said, we went and did it, and we can come back and review and ask ourselves what results it gave us.
What are the factors to consider for any business that is planning to develop a strategic plan?
So if you're planning to develop a strategic plan, the factors you need to consider is, what is my market opportunity? What are my products and services, and what are the needs that I'm meeting for my customer? What is my capability internally? What are my strengths and weaknesses that allow me to be able to go after that market opportunity? And then finally, what is my goal? What do I want to achieve in the next 3 years, in the next 1 year? So that then I'm looking at moving from where I am to where I want to go to be able to achieve those particular goals. Yeah.
There's an emerging school of thought that believe that a strategic plan, somehow they limit a company when it's come to exploring other growth opportunities. Because you have a strategic plan that was developed in 2013, 2014. Now we are in 2020. So how do you develop a strategic plan that is responsive to the changing nature of business?
That's a very good question, because if you developed a strategic plan in 2013 and you have not looked at that strategic plan and we're in 2020, then truly speaking, you're not in business. A good business owner is somebody who, once they develop a strategic plan, they come back and revisit it every 4 months to ask themselves, are we on track with implementing the things that we did? And what is the market telling us? And what is the feedback that we are getting? You know, last year we had COVID, all right? And think about it. Somebody had a strategy to open a hotel, and they opened a hotel in January, all right? And then in March, COVID hit and flights were cancelled. Now, would they go ahead and implement that strategy the way they had designed it? They would then be failing, you know. They need to sit back and ask themselves, now that we had this strategy, now that COVID has happened, what are we supposed to do? So you have to re-strategize. So a good business owner is not one who just does a strategic plan once and then goes ahead to implement it as if the world does not exist. A good business owner is one who, after doing their strategic plan, every so often they come and review it and re-strategize in view of changing dynamics in the market. Yeah.
Okay. The question of strategic planning is a relatively new concept in Kenya.
Yeah.
You know, whereby many companies are yet to embrace this concept of strategic planning. Is it critical to any? Is strategic planning critical to any business success?
I can tell you 100% so. When we did our survey, we discovered that all the big businesses that were reporting turnovers of above 100 million reported that they had a written strategic plan. Okay, so it gave us an indication that if you're doing a big business and you want to succeed, you want to have a strategic plan. Okay, if you go to some of the listed companies in this Nairobi Stock Exchange, one of the things that they are asked for when they are going to list is, where is your strategic plan? Because it has been known time immemorial that when you have a strategic plan, then you're more likely to succeed than to fail, because you have sat down with your team and you have considered your market opportunity, you have considered your customer, you have considered your competitors, you have considered your strengths and weaknesses, and you have said, in view of this is our plan to succeed. You know, and so businesses that have a strategic plan are more likely to succeed than businesses that don't have a strategic plan. Yeah.
What does a strategic plan say about a company?
So when you don't have one, it tells us that you do not know what it takes to succeed. Or if you know what it takes to succeed, then it's in your mind and it cannot be put down on paper and shared with your employees, shared with your managers, and shared with your other constituents. When you have one and it is written, it tells us something about your company. It tells us that you're organized. It tells us that you know what you want to do. It tells us that you know where you want to go. It tells us that you know what it takes for you to succeed, and that you are confident that you are going to defeat your competitors in the market. Because some people will tell you, if I write my strategy, then my competitors will copy it. But guess what? A lot of the listed companies in the stock exchange have their strategies written, put on their website, and publicized. And we don't see them being defeated by their competition. In fact, some of them are succeeding despite their competition.
And it's also proper to point out that, you know, having a strategic plan, you know, is not a bullet to succeed or to success.
Yeah.
You need to have a strategic plan that is centered around people. A strategic plan that is owned by the people, and the people I'm talking about, your employees, you know, and your customers, because we have many companies, you know, that had brilliant strategic plans, but they failed.
Yes.
So how do you develop that kind of a document?
So, to be very categorical, your strategic plan needs to be centered around your customer, your customer's needs, and how your company is meeting those customers' needs. If you do a strategic plan that is not centered around your customer and your customer's needs, then you're most likely going to fail. Because at the end of the day, the customer is king. The customer wants something from your company. The customer wants something that you must be able to supply. If you're not able to supply whatever it is that the customer needs, then you're going to fail. And that's the first and primary place. Now, beyond that, there are many other issues that will arise that will impact a business's success or failure. And we've seen many businesses that had relevant products and services. They had an idea of who their customer were, but when they failed to have proper corporate governance, for example, the businesses failed. When they failed to have proper marketing strategies, the businesses failed. You know, when they failed to have a secure source of raw materials, the businesses failed. But at the end of the day, where you start with your strategic plan, you must start with, who is my customer? What are the needs of my customer that I am serving? How many customers exist in the market that we need to serve? And therefore then, how do I position myself to be able to serve more and more of those customers? And what you're right about is you need to include your employees in developing that strategy, because then they're able to bring their ideas, they're able to bring their wisdom, they're able to bring the experience as you're developing that strategy. Obviously, you also need to talk to your customer. Because when you talk to your customer, then he's able to tell you, or she's able to tell you, these are my needs and this is how your company is meeting my needs.
According to the study that you did, and many other studies that have been done, included by World Bank and IFC, 80% of SMEs in Kenya who are aged between 1 year to 5 years, they do not have any form of strategic plan in place. Why do you think, or from the research that you conducted, why is this number so low?
I think one of the things that makes the number very low is just SMEs are not aware that they need a strategic plan. Okay, a lot of businesses are started by people who are passionate about the business or are skilled professional. So a plumber, an engineer, a lawyer, and they go and start a business, or a trader. All right, and as they start the business, they never went to a business school per se. So they are not having a presence of mind to know that they need to do a strategic plan. So that's one of the reasons. People just don't know that they need to have a strategic plan. And that's part of the reason why we are here, to try and publicize and to tell people that a strategic plan is going to help you to succeed and you need to have one. Bring a lot more awareness. Another reason why people don't do the strategic plan is it costs money to engage a consultant to help you to develop a strategic plan. All right? And so if you're going to sit somewhere and ask yourself, do I pay for a consultant to help me develop a strategic plan, or do I pay salaries, or do I pay rent? You have to make a trade-off. And I'm encouraging our viewers to think about a strategic plan as an investment. The same way you'd go and buy a truck to boost your capacity is the same way you need to be able to invest in a strategic plan to be able to boost your chances of success in the market.
I mean, you've rightly put it. I mean, a strategic plan is not just a document that can be developed by anyone. I mean, it takes tremendous amount of expertise, and knowledge and people to come up with that kind of a document. And so it costs money.
Yes.
And in a situation whereby access to funding, access to capital is a big challenge for SMEs. Even your Dongo, I mean, you have a business 2-3 years old. I mean, you're struggling with issues of financings. Yes, you're struggling with the issues of capital. What would you invest first? Is it in the commodities that you're selling or in a strategic plan?
So, it's what you'd call the proverbial chicken and egg question. Okay, do I go and buy an asset and then deploy it to serve my customers, or do I go and talk to Wild International, Chris Odongo, help me to think through what to do in my business to succeed? And in our experience, what we have seen happen is we meet business owners and they come and they say, I need capital to do ABCD. And in 1 hour of sitting with them and talking to them about their business, we're able to reorganize that need of, I need capital to buy XYZ, to, if I am able to position my product and my services in this manner in the market, I'll be able to generate the money I need to actually do that. And so we've actually helped businesses move from, I don't have access to capital, to, I am going to talk to my customers, get them to buy more and more of my products and services, and then I will use that money to be able to finance my business. We actually say that one of the sources of capital for your business is with your customers. If you can be able to sell more and more products to your customers, then you can actually be able to finance your business. So to answer your question, I would say, go and get a strategic planning consultant, go and get them to help you develop a strategy that can get more customers coming into your business, and you will get the money to buy that truck that you want to buy. And you'll buy it cash instead of buying it as a loan.
Is it lack of knowledge on the importance of strategic plan that hinders so many companies or so many SMEs, from implementing their strategic plans, or why the big apathy?
So it's one, lack of knowledge. So I don't know that I need a strategic plan, and then I can't put a path of from a strategic plan to money in my account. Okay, I can see from a car, if I buy a truck, to money in my account, because somebody will come and hire that truck and pay me cash. But I can't see from a strategic plan to cash in my account. But what we are telling you is that we have developed a way for you to be able to actually see from a strategic plan to cash in your account, so that then you can trace, if I do this with my company, I will actually be able to get money into my business, and when I get money into my business, I'll be able to achieve my dreams and my goals. And it's there. There's a very clear path from plan to money.
How much would it cost a company, a small company, to develop a strategic plan on average?
On average. So if you go out in the market, it can cost you as much as 100,000 shillings.
100,000 shillings?
Yeah.
Is that on the higher side or on the lower side?
That's on the average side.
That is on the average side?
Yes.
So it could go as high as millions of shillings?
It goes as high as 10 million, 30 million for big companies. Yeah. So if you come to us, it will only cost you 25,000 shillings. Yeah.
And you and me, we know that not many SMEs in Kenya can afford even 25,000, even 20,000 shillings to do a strategic plan. So how do we equip SMEs with this kind of knowledge, bearing in mind that they face tremendous financial challenges?
So one of the things that we are doing as a company is we are developing an online portal where SMEs should be able to go and actually be able to develop their own strategic plan. That one is work in progress, and we're going to be launching it later in the year. And when we launch that product, SMEs will be able to go and develop their own strategic plan right from the comfort of our website, whether they're doing it on their phone, on their laptop, or on their tablet. And that is going to be available at a much cheaper cost. Yeah.
Is there any way or any partnership that a government can create with SMEs to help them craft strategic plans for their business? Because
there is.
Any good government would want SMEs to thrive, because they are the future conglomerate.
Yeah. And I think for that, we'd like to really just acknowledge the effort that the government of Kenya has made towards supporting SMEs. We have a project which is called the Kenya Industrial and Entrepreneurship Project. And in that project, government of Kenya, in partnership with the World Bank, is offering for 250 SMEs in Kenya the opportunity to be able to get their strategic plans paid for and subsidized by the government and the World Bank. We are part of that project, and it's called the KIEP 250, KIEP 250. And in that project, as an SME, you are able to actually get the strategic planning services that you need for your company to succeed at a subsidized cost.
Who qualifies to be among the 250?
So for you to qualify to be among the 250, you need to be amongst the, number one, the government areas of the Big Four agenda. That is housing, food, healthcare, manufacturing. Once you're in the Big Four agenda, you need to be turning over at least 50 million shillings every year. Okay, so these are
50 million shillings.
Yes, 50 million shillings every year.
That is not a small company.
That's not a small company.
A company with a turnover of 50 million shillings. It means that your monthly turnover is about 3 billion shillings.
About 3 billion shillings, yes. So no, it's not a small company, but it is an opportunity for that kind of company to be able to get a subsidized strategic planning service by the government. There's another project within the Kenya Industry and Entrepreneurship Project that is supporting startups. So these are companies that do not have any turnover, all right? And they're actually also getting the planning services in terms of business planning and business
What do you mean, a company without any turnover?
So these are startups. A company that has just started, that is less than 1 year old, they're also getting support. So those ones are getting
to also craft their strategic plans.
Yes, they're also getting support to craft their strategic plans. Yeah.
And how does one qualify for that?
So that one is very simple. You go to the Kenya Youth Employability and Opportunity Project. That is KYEOP. When you go into the website for KYEOP, then you're able to apply as a young person, as somebody who owns a business, and you'll be able to get the support you need. Yeah.
What are the core competencies that are required for me to qualify for that?
You need to have a basic business plan that you have drafted to start with, and you need to have...
What is a basic business plan?
A basic business plan is just a document that says, my name is so-and-so, I want to get into this kind of business, these are the customers that I'm going to be targeting, these are the things I'm going to be supplying to those customers in terms of either products or in terms of services, this is how I'm going to be able to do my business, and this is the amount of capital I require to do my business. Yeah.
What else?
Other than that, it's written on paper, and you do a list of, these are the people who are in the business, myself, this is my CV, this is my profile, this is what I've done, and to be able to demonstrate to the person who is selecting you that you have thought through what it is that it takes for you to succeed. Yeah.
And the other qualification is that you must have all the relevant licenses.
No, you don't need to have the relevant
You don't
licenses.
have to?
No. You just have to have all the relevant documents that prove that you're a Kenyan citizen. This is a government-sponsored project. Yeah.
So, but how would you have a business without?
You are a startup.
Oh, this is for startups.
This is for startups.
Okay.
Yes, this is for startups. Remember, you asked me about. You said 50 million shillings is too much.
Yeah.
What about startups? Or what about businesses that don't have that turnover? Those ones are the threshold is much lower. Yeah.
And they are covered under the KEOP.
They're covered under KYEOP
program.
Yes.
Let's talk about the KYP 250.
Yes, the KIEP 250. KIEP
250 is a collaboration between World Bank and the government of Kenya.
Yes.
Targeting SMEs in the Big Four agenda.
Yes.
So yes, here I am. I'm interested.
Yeah.
I know I can go to the website and register, but what else do I need in order?
You obviously need to be registered. You obviously need to show us a record of your accounts to prove that you have the turnover of 250 million. So you need to produce.
So you must have
accounts.
Proper bookkeeping.
Yes, you have to have proper bookkeeping in place. You definitely need to give us a profile of your managers and a profile of yourself. You need to give us a brochure of your company. You need to give us your website. You need to tell us who some of your customers that you have served are, and to be able to demonstrate that you're actually in business and that you're actually doing the work that you say. So this is a company that has been running, and therefore they're able to demonstrate those things with ease. You need to be able to show your premises, where you're located. You need to show how many employees do you have, and whether these employees are on a full-time basis or on part-time basis. You need to be able to show that you have certain policies in place, some basics. Not necessarily all the way to the top, but that you are an organized house. Yeah.
And you're in a position to do organized business.
And you're able to, yes, you're in a position to do organized business, and you're actually in a position to benefit from a strategic planning service that is more organized and more competent for the business at your level.
Should a business plan be cast on stones?
A strategic plan and a business plan, should it be cast on stone? Never ever. Because a business is a very dynamic thing, and so when you develop your plan, it's not cast on stone. It says this year, next year, this is what we want to do, and this is where we want to go, But the market dynamics, they're always going to be changing. Now, as the market dynamics are changing, you come back and revisit your plan, and you ask yourself, how do I adjust so that I am able to move forward? One of the things that needs to be not cast on stone, but difficult to change, has to do with your core business and has to do with your identity and who you are. You can't come and develop a business plan to run a factory that produces maize meal, all right? And then in April, you come back and say, maize meal is not working. Now let's abandon maize meal. Let's get another factory to produce nails, okay? That's not going to make sense. You need to come and say, we've been producing maize meal, we are taking it to the market, and we are not being able to penetrate the market. What do we do to be able to get better customers to us? Do we enhance our marketing budget? Do we enhance our sales? That's a question you need to ask. But you don't come and say, I was doing maize meal, now I want to abandon maize meal, I want to start doing cement.
Very good.
Yeah.
So it's a question of persistence and consistency in business.
Yes.
And those are key ingredients in business.
Yeah.
Odongo, what are your final thoughts on this topic as I let you go?
So my final thoughts on this topic are, you asked me a question and you said, how much does it cost to do a strategic plan? And I want to tell the audience that we have developed a way for you to do your strategic plan in a very simple, straightforward manner that is able to connect for you from the strategic plan to money in the bank. And we are launching that next week on Thursday, on 26th of August. You can join us on our Facebook page, that is facebook.com/wildinternational, and you can be able to see how we can help you to develop a strategic plan for your business.
Very good.
Yeah.
Odongo, thank you very much indeed for finding time to be with us this morning and sharing, of course, with us your insight on how to develop a robust business plan for SMEs.
All right.
Well, we've been talking to Chris Odongo. He's the CEO of Wild International, helping us to understand the importance of a strategic business plan. And as I told you, in a business, it's very simple. If you fail to plan, you have planned to fail already. And if you want to thrive, then planning must become a core component of your business. SMEs, you have no option. You must embrace the concept of strategic business planning. That is the golden rule of success. O'Brien Kimani is my name. Thank you very much indeed for finding time to be with us this morning. Coming up next is Tamurini, and I have to leave you for now. And of course, Kurunzi is also coming up after this show. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Do you have a news story to share? Email newsroom@kbc.co.ke. Call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.